station had so many close calls. Even after I got out of jail, you know, we had only about a year, maybe after that, maybe not even that. We just had the biggest chase, like, ever.
Talk to me about that.
It was insane. Well, me and Hooks had been up in London painting. It was a full-on graff day. So we'd been to Crystal Palace. We'd done pieces at Crystal Palace. And we'd arranged to do a certain yard that night. So we arranged to meet our pals there who couldn't come up in the daytime. And they said, all right, we'll meet you by the yard. We'll bring a load more paint for you. And we'll hit it. And it was a yard that we used to do all the time, quite regularly. When we got there, our mates also turned up with 2 writers from Newcastle and a couple of their pals from the pub. And then also, we're going, all right, fuck it, you know. We'd all had a couple of beers and that, you know. We'll just go in. Everyone just...
Sounds like a recipe for disaster,
Yeah,
man.
but then we've walked over to the yard and TPG were hiding in the bushes. And it was the three main guys from Brighton who were TPG.
Yeah.
And one of our lot knew them, and he was like, oh my God, you know who that is? And the rest of us hadn't met him, and this was the biggest train writer in the country, obviously, you know what I'm talking about. And we were like, is that him? And everyone's like, yeah. And then they all come over and they were like, right, we've come all the way here from Brighton. We're doing this yard. We can all go in, because it was a fairly easy yard normally.
Jesus.
And they were like, we'll all go in, but no one do anything stupid. Everyone just do your pieces, shut up, and we're all going. Because they knew what they were doing a lot more than us, you know. We weren't that clued up. And he was going, aren't you wearing gloves? And we were going, no, I don't need gloves. And he was like, you don't wear gloves? Well, we would just say we weren't really that clued up on the safety of things like people are now. And we were, say, a bit stupid. Anyway, we went and done it. Everyone was just piecing. Everyone done their pieces. We were all taking photos at the end, and then the yard just got rushed by trackies, like about 10 of them. And there's about 10 of us, about 10 of them. And it was just like shit. And
Mayhem.
There was a police station literally about half a mile down the road, so they're straight on the phone. Everyone is just split into different directions. A couple of us stick together, you know. I might as well say, Nick was like, you two, you know this area, I'm coming with you, get me out of here. So he stuck with me and my pal, and we all, different people were going, I'm going to go that way, I'm going to go that way, I'm going to go that way. And within like a couple of minutes, you could already hear the fucking sirens going. We were like, they're coming, everyone go now. And we all like hid out for a little while. You know, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So we were hiding under a tree in someone's back garden, and we left it for about an hour, and then we thought, right, let's just walk that way, and we'll just see what happens. There's nothing else we could do. It was we either stay here all night and possibly get found, or we start moving. You know, so we started moving. We got right to near where the local train station was. And all of a sudden, a copper come out of an alleyway from nowhere, and he was just like, you three, stay there. So we've just gone, poof, legged it, as we've run into his car park, and other police cars come in. I can't remember who it was, whether it was me or my mate now. One of us jumped straight over the bonnet, we've run over the other side, the coppers have both jumped out the car, we're running over the bridge, I've gone over, my mate's gone over, behind us. He had his rucksack, and the copper's gone, poof, grabbed his rucksack that was on his back, and he's just gone...
Wiggled out
of his rucksack. The copper's gone, bang, flat on his face on this metal bridge. You can hear him go, fuck! We've just dashed down the other side, and we're gone, you know. And we were just off, hopping fences and whatever, and within minutes, you could hear the... And then we're like, fucking hell, now there's the chopper. And then the chopper came in. Within a few minutes after that, you could hear the dogs, row, 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 and there was sirens just going off everywhere, like absolutely everywhere. And because unbeknown to us, our other mates were getting spotted in other different places, and they were having their own sort of little individual chases and whatever going on. And it was absolutely mad. I was shitting myself. I'd only been out of jail for less than a year, I was thinking, fuck, I'm going back, you know. And eventually I went, right, I'm going on my own. He went, I'll see you later.
Because it's too bait.
He was like, I'm going on my own. Can't stick together. See you later. I'm gone. And he gone. I think he gave one of us his phone number because we didn't know him. He said, you know, we'll meet up again. Anyway, so he'd gone. Me and my mate was hiding underneath a rabbit hutch in somebody's back garden, but we could just hear the dogs and stuff going on the other side, and you could see the torch lights and all of that going.
That rabbit hutch probably saved your fucking ass.
It probably did, yeah, from the chopper or whatever.
And also the smell, like, of something else that
maybe,
ain't you.
maybe. But we stayed there for an hour, and the chopper was going round and round in circles. The dogs, the police, you could hear police motorbikes going up and down, and we just stayed there and held out, and eventually we just waited for all the noise to die down. And it all calmed down, and all we had between us, because we were younger back then, we only had a tenner, and we were a good 40 or 50 miles away from where we lived. And but my mate was like, well, I've got a bank card, but there's no cash points around here. He's got a tenner, so we went to payphones, as it was back then. No one really had mobiles or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Managed to phone a taxi. Taxi come and picked us up. He got the taxi to drive us to another town. He got some more money out of the cash point, and then got enough to get another taxi back to where we lived. And then, this is the worst bit really, I got home, I cleared all the stuff out of my house, still live with my mum and dad at this point, got everything out, went and hid it, put it all in a plastic bag, hid it behind my dad's shed. Because when you live with your mum and dad, if BTP search your house, they're only allowed to search your room.
Right.
They're not allowed to search the whole house because it's not your property.
Okay, got you.
So I knew that from having been done a couple of times before. So I stashed everything. I got into bed. I'd literally been in bed about 10 minutes, and it was ding dong, and I knew. I was like, it's fucking BTP. I thought, how the fuck did they get me? How'd they get me? How'd they find me? And I just stayed in bed, you know, I'd scrubbed all the paint off my hands. I just stayed in bed, and I thought, I can't answer it. I could hear my dad getting up, going downstairs.
How's your blood levels at this point?
My heart was just...
Getting it out.
Yeah, it's pounding now just talking about it, telling the story.
I'm telling you, this is the story of 2021, man. That's like, well, this is one of the hardcore... I swear to God, I'm not...
Right, I ain't even finished. You know?
Carry on.
So, like, I knew it was BTP. My dad's just come back upstairs, proper pissed off, as you can imagine. Slung the door open. He's gone, bloody BTP again. What have you been doing? And he went, get up, you know. I said, come downstairs. There's 2 coppers in the front room. And they've said, you know, you're under arrest for criminal damage, blah, 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 da-da-da. And they said, what had happened was my bank card was in my back pocket. I didn't even realise that I dropped it. My bank card was found on the tracks by the yard, and they tracked it and got me back. But luckily, by the time all that had happened, I'd got home, cleared everything out anyway. And I was thinking, they didn't even know at this point that I had previous, you know. So anyway, I was nicked, was taken to the police station. No comment, as per usual. And they've come in, just found out, you've been to jail for this, haven't you? And I was like, no comment. Okay, released on bail. And then, you know, a couple of days, weeks later, whatever it was, I had a phone call, you need to come to a certain BTP station in London, do a ID parade thing. So I went up there to do that, and it was amazing. I walked in, and they had like 10 blokes who looked exactly like me. And I thought, they're never going to pick me out. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. You know, they were all sort of, you know, I was a bit scruffy, a lot more scruffy at the time than I was now. All sort of scruffish blokes with the same colour hair as me. Same sort of baggy jeans and trainers and hoodies. And I was like, brilliant. You know, so I did the lineup, and they had the taxi driver that had driven us home. They had 2 of the trackies from the yard that reckoned that they'd clock people.
Jesus.
And they had the 2 coppers that had nearly got us by the station, and none of them picked me out. And so, you know, all charges got dropped. And then this is the maddest thing about the whole story. About a week later, after I'd had my charges dropped, the BTP sergeant who had done me in my prior case phoned me up and said, "Oh, I heard about that you got nicked and that again." He said, "I can't believe I'm doing this." He said, I've got your rucksack here." And I was thinking, my rucksack? And it was Mr. Nasty's rucksack that they'd pulled off his back when the copper had fallen flat on his station. And he went, "I'll drop it round your house." And then, so a couple of days later, the sergeant from BTP dropped this rucksack round my house, half full cans of paint from that mission.
Oh my!
And went, "Right, hope I don't see you again," and just went. And I had his number by this point, and I phoned him up and I said, "You'll never guess what's just happened." And he's like, "What?" I said, "You know your rucksack?" I said, "I've got it here." And he's just going, "What?"
Wow.
And I met up with him. This was in 1995, and Unity. Do you remember the jams that Elk used to do? I think it was the second one in '95. I can't remember how many. Was there 2 or 3?
Three.
It was
I think it was 3. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure it was the 1995 one.
Yeah.
So he said, "Are you going to Unity in a couple of weeks?" I was like, yeah, of course I am. And he was like, "Well, I'll see you there." So I turned up at Unity with his rucksack, and I've just gone like that, and he's gone, "I don't fucking believe it."
Mind blown. Mind blown.
I know. And I gave it to him, and he was like, "I can't believe that none of us, that only one person got caught that night, and I can't believe the one person who did got away with it, and brought me my rucksack back."
You can't write that. You just can't write this. It's incredible. That's an incredible story.
Yeah, and all the other writers. So that's just my part of the story. Everyone else who was there that night has got their own little bit of that as well. Like the two Geordie writers that were there that night as well. When everybody else was getting chased all over the place, do you know what they did? They just went down the shop, bought a couple of beers, and just walked onto the station and got the train home.
What?
Yeah.
Was it like nothing? Nothing.
As if nothing had happened. They were just like, "Well, fuck it, man. Let's go and get a beer." Like
that's how they do it up north, man. That's how they do it in Newcastle.
And they were covered in paint, and they just walked straight to the station, sat on a bench, drinking their beers on the station, and got the train back to where they were staying down south.
Wow.
And other people walked like 40 miles all the way home, all through the night. And other people sort of hid out all night and then bunked trains back to wherever in the morning. But yeah, we call that Black Sunday.
Sunday.
That was a legendary, mad night. So that was 25 years ago, but I'll never ever forget that.
Have you ever told that story?
I've never told it to anyone like yourself. There's obviously writers, my mates and stuff, who know the story. There's a few people that were there.
Sounds like, you know, the beach scene in Quadrophenia. It sounds like that, but in it. You know what I mean?
It was, yeah.
Just brutal, like levels of people just running everywhere.
It was absolute mayhem. Absolute mayhem.